Okay. Alright, so I'm making this for one reason, and one reason only, and that is because last time that I had a really, really nice world. Yes, Mom? Okay, thank you. I know, unfortunate timing and everything, but, you know, what are you gonna do? I did this because last time I had a giant creative world, quite a lot like this one. I mean, of course it wasn't as good as this one, but there's only a trace of footage, and now that that world is lost, I mourn it every day, and I regret that I didn't record more of it. Maybe one day I'll find some more footage of it, but for now, this is, I think, the only footage of this world that it currently exists. I made this, the Grand Budapest Hotel, a little bit, like a while ago. I made it a while ago. A lot of the rooms are empty, but it's really not about the interior for me. I think, anyhow. It's just about, here we are. It's just about, having this giant, set piece. It's like kind of always looming in the background, and I always like that about it. It has that kind of quality to it. And although our main transportation is flying, I made it also so that in the event that you would play on this world on survival, I made it so that it was more accessible on foot. And that's why this line here exists. It goes directly over there from the Grand Budapest Hotel. Plops it down right in the middle of Heaven's Boulevard, as it's called. Do ignore the giant clown. That is part of the massive circuit that goes around most of the world, just as like a touring device. We have a couple unfinished projects here. This one, a project that's gone on unfinished the longest, though I only very recently put on this this top here. I plan to also fill this with custom-made books, you know, just for the joke of it. It's going to be a library that extends out and is like one of the tallest in the world. You can tell some of these buildings are made just when I could not build for the life of me. Like over here, this is my replica of Notre Dame. I know it looks awful. It looks nothing like the actual building. I just called it Notre Dame and got away with it. Inside is very bare. My little brother likes it, but that's pretty much it. Now this whole area here is old, oldest parts of the city, and that's one of the oldest buildings I distinctly remember. The first building that we actually built is this one here. VIP Brewing Lounge. Nothing has changed about this place since I first built it. I'm just gonna do that. I mean, it wasn't terribly long ago, maybe 3 years at most. It's not like vintage. That's not like opening a vintage, but oh man, yeah. This was built by me. The second building I remember being built was my little brother Max's answer to this. His own building, which was bigger, but doesn't have a menu. I mean, it does have its aesthetic. I mean, like, this looks really good. And he recently made, actually he does. I'm sorry. Except this was back when he couldn't spell for the life of him. The biggest word he managed to spell correctly here was cookies. That shows you a lot about who he is as a person. The street lamps are also very new. We didn't do them before because my little brother turned the day-night cycle off, so that we didn't have to bother with that. But now I can pretty much only appreciate the world like this. Here, hat on Bank Street. Then there's this restaurant building here. I never understood what the deal here was. I don't understand what any of this is either. It's not my business, but you know, whatever. Man. It's just a building here that exists, and you know it goes well with the rest of Uptown. Then after that, my memory of how buildings got made is a little hazy, but I think it was this bank here, which Max set up to do this, and just dispense any and all kinds of riches. Then, I believe, it was this building, which used to be an aquarium. Well, now it obviously isn't. This is our main, this is our map here. This is our main station here, where we we have a monetary system, which we use to buy plots of land for us to make buildings on, because it used to just be, oh, sorry, this was actually the first building, alright? But it used to be like, you could just build whatever, whenever, didn't have to have any laws or be connected to the street at all. And you know, that started dragging down the world, so we made these laws, and sure, the building output is slower, but we have more quality builds because people actually care about what they put on the plot of land. Here's my homage to Breaking Bad, which I made immediately after the series ended. Oops. It's really bad building. I made it hastily because I wanted something Breaking Bad themed on my world. I think here is one of the most modern buildings in Uptown. It's a little jazz bar. Whoa. Oh yeah, that's right. Never mind. There's some records here that was named afterwards in item shelves, but for whatever reason, whenever you go to the end and back, it destroys all the items in item frames. Here was the promise of something much better, but I'm not going to touch that. More parts of the track. I'm going to stop trying to do it in order, but I distinctly remember Max making these little themed buildings that would go everywhere. Like there was one for the desert, and here's one for the taiga. And just one for the plains, one for the swamp. Here's SpongeBob Town. It was a bit of a dumb idea. Max made SpongeBob's house and Patrick's house, but I made Squidward's house. Yep, they definitely were buildings. I have to give them that. Just not any of our finest works. A well to the underworld. Here's a cart that takes you to downtown. That's connected to the main circuit, I believe. Here's our set of castles that Max made. That got us to different dimensions, and others were just weird and themed. Stuff. I think that like now we're actually having hot real estate options, because like some parts here are so expensive now, because you can't just like building a building here in Uptown. This cost me $75. That might not sound like a lot, but believe me, that is a lot. $75 to make that. Here's a couple more. Here's a bar that exists for one reason and one reason only. The joke that you can get drunk. Just gonna wait for that. Ah, This over here, I used to have an older survival world. I can show you guys after the old survival world that I'm discussing. But I was planning to build something like this in that old survival world. I mean, of course I did, but it was never this impressive. Here's Max's, something. Here's Max's other something. His lemonade stand. This stood at the number 10 spot as the 10th nicest building in the world. This. Max added the prices and the masks. And here's one of the only pieces of legitimate housing in the entire world. Here's the official border for Uptown, by the way. This arch is very new. I made it like yesterday, I think. I like it a lot. It's showing off this strip that I'm making for this highway that connects eventually up with Heaven's Boulevard at the end. And over here is the sculpture ghetto, as we call it. There's just so much garbage here. This was when we were trying to get to the 50 build mark, and these counted as builds to us. So yeah, they obviously look terrible. Here's one. Here's the building. Again, very new. Kind of on that border of uptown and downtown. And it just goes up and up and up. Max calls it a sculpture. I call it a building because it has an inside. Like, okay, here's something that bugs me. The definition of a building, in our opinion, has to be something that you can go inside of. Something like anything that you built that you can go inside of. Like these two posters here, the Night 45 sign, and the stupid John Coltrane joke. You cannot go inside those. They are basically two-dimensional. One block full. And that bothers me that this, apparently, you can go in, even though you can't even access all the floors from the bottom. This is Max's build. And this somehow to him counts as a building. Well, for whatever reason, this doesn't. Anyway, let's talk about this one. It's a nice little building, oh my god, he's infected me. That Max made here. It's more a tower, really. And this is currently sitting at the tallest completed building in the entire world. At 80 blocks. I tried to beat him with the Lich's Tower. We were in a race for a bit, but I stopped at around 78. And I think that expanding to get any further would just make it look bad. Now, before we talk about this building, we have to talk about this building here. This significantly more impressive building. But first we're going to talk about this one, because it's pretty empty. And it's pretty simple. This is unused space, but I wouldn't call this building unfinished. This is part of a building competition that me and Max did. And whenever me and Max compete, Max always beats me. I'm sure I might have most of the really good buildings. But Max, he's more quality over quantity. This was my answer to that for the building competition. This is meant to be like a news tower thing. Like, it was inspired by the one in Tomodachi Life, if you've ever played that. This. I am deeply ashamed in this building. It's not even connected to a road. I mean, eventually it will be connected, but yeah. This is all rail yard. It only currently has two connections. One that goes to the sculpture ghetto and one that goes to Uptown. But, you know, as the world gets bigger, we'll get there. Anyway, here's Max's art gallery, and currently the nicest completed building. It's got everything you could possibly want. It even has mysterious alien artifacts. And the current best view of the city, if one of the best views of the city, the 50 buildings monument is kind of ruining it. I think the current best building is from over here from the Pollock Tower. But Yeah. These yellow areas here, these are plots that you can buy with the money that you get from putting up street lamps or making more roads. Here's a French flag. I don't know why I was feeling French that day, I suppose. Here's Max's incomplete clock tower. He'll finish it when he feels like it. I don't know. What more? What more is there? What more is there? It's the ancient Egyptian obelisk. Pretty underwhelming. I could show you the posters. There's a little... Oh, I could show you inside the Lich's Tower. I almost forgot. It's barren, pretty much. Almost 100% barren interior. But, yeah. One of the only places in the world where you can have a bed. It has this little skinny room, which no purpose, it just is there. I don't know, man. What do you want me to say? The more I look and try to tour this world, the more small it seems. Although I know it's not small, this is nearly 2 years of effort. This is 2 years of effort. This is 2 years of effort. That is it. Of course, for most of that time, Max wasn't actually helping out. And, okay, here it is. What I plan to be my magnum opus. The greatest building I ever made. It's based off the Los Angeles Town Hall, City Hall. But it's currently incomplete. I like the way it's coming out, though, so far. This was easily the most expensive property ever sold. Because this is on Heavens Boulevard, which is notorious for having expensive properties. Like the property here costs me no less than $75, which is, I mean, that's the same as prices as uptown.
It's his phone, goddammit. Yes, do you know where your dad is?
$150. $150. Oh look, the road used to, until today, the road extended out this far, and none of these street lamps existed. And for the other side, none of this rectangle here didn't exist. And the road stopped at the rectangle. But now, with all of that, I managed to gather just enough money. Just enough to buy this property. It was very pricey. It was very, very, very pricey. I might do these every now and again just in case I ever lose this world, which would suck. I feel like it would suck really badly. I doubt I ever will. I mean, come on.
What?
But
I can't take responsibility anymore.
you know, you gotta be safe. You gotta be safe.